Robertson's as a company has been around since 1986, but prior to that I was involved in another company importing and distributing plumbing equipment, so I have an excess of a 30-year history in the plumbing business. Prior to that I was a builder by trade, so I've always had a very hands-on involvement in product development and been interested in developing products to make it easy for the plumbers, to make it easy for the builders, as well as taking into account, what the consumer was looking for.
I spent a number of years in our ideal standard plant in Germany, and we were exporting to the New Zealand market the ceramics faucet. Knowing that the background that I had, Max came to me with his requirements list, and we sat down with a white piece of paper and identified all of the features and benefits that we wanted to include in this new product that we were developing.
The development of the intelligent valve was really about firstly looking back at the performance of other valves in the market, and then looking to take a quantum leap forward. It wouldn't have been acceptable to the market to come out with a V2 valve. We had to take the next step forward, and we were able to study new technology that was available in the market. We had the capital resources to invest in the engineering to develop a valve that was dedicated to this multi-pressure situation. And as a consequence, we think we've taken quite a significant step forward in terms of technology and also achieving much better performance. The valve is a 4-port valve, which means it has 2 inlets and 2 outlets. The top outlet being for the shower and the bottom outlet being a dedicated outlet for the bath. The bath outlet is oversized, so it gives a very, very good flow rate to the bath, and will fill even quite large sized baths without any problem whatsoever. Well, having put flow control valves in, or flow control / check valves in, we were able to machine them in such a way that the flow control valve could be absolutely shut off. And that being the case, we also made sure that the flow control valve could withstand the pressures of the hydrostatic pressure test, which is necessary to comply to New Zealand standards. So you're working at 1500 kPa, so all you need to do is just shut the isolation valves down, which bypasses the actual cartridge, which means you can carry out your pressure test. So no requirement to bypass the mixer or remove the cartridge from the wall during the hydrostatic test. As I said before, the valve will work on either equal high or unequal. And it also has the ability to be adjusted in a retrofit situation by using the flow control valves. And these can be accessed by simply removing the lever handle, removing the trim ring, but you leave the escutcheon in place, and accessing the flow control valves through the holes in the escutcheon, which means the integrity of the waterproofing remains intact. Check valves are imperative because the valve, as it's working in unequal situations, you've got high pressure cold on the cold side and low pressure potentially on the hot side. So to prevent the high pressure cold going through and pressurizing the low pressure hot side, a check valve is necessary. Without a check valve, you risk the hot water cylinder overflowing or potentially causing a leak.
Given the specification that Max gave us for the New Zealand requirements, we went into our computer-aided laboratory and simulated the conditions of equal pressure low, equal pressure high, and unequal pressures. And our target was to create a valve that would work in all of those situations. And when we did, we looked at different opportunities with different manufacturers' ceramic disc cartridges, and we settled on the Sidel cartridge. Sidel is a Spanish company, one of the top manufacturers of ceramic disc cartridges in the world. The advantage that we had in using their newly developed cartridge was that it had both 2 inlets and multiple outlets. And with the multiple outlets, the resistance of the cartridge was very low, and we were able to meet the requirements that Max gave us for temperature control and flow rate.
A multi-port cartridge gives a much better flow rate, but in addition to that, it has a wider arc of movement of the lever. As a consequence, you have a smoother transition from full cold to warm to hot, which gives the consumer greater control over the water temperature. The cartridge was tested exhaustively in our own laboratories, and we tested it to the same parameters as other ideal standard cartridges, which we give a lifetime warranty on. And the cartridge flew through the tests, and as a consequence, we have every confidence of giving the intelligent valve cartridge a lifetime drip-free warranty. The flow control, because we were again designing from new, we were able to precisely engineer the thread so that we had very, very good control over the flow rates, which enabled us to mix the low pressure hot with the cold pressure cold very precisely, and thus still achieve a satisfactory showering temperature. The valve is very easy to install because, again, as we were designing from absolute scratch, we were able to include all the components and manufacture one integral body for the valve that included the isolation valves or check valves, as well as the inlets and the outlets. So it's a one-piece valve. That's the first advantage. And that advantage is, of course, that you've got less watertight joints behind the wall, and also the plumber doesn't have to add components and be worried about his making watertight joints when he's adding the components. Then, of course, we've put a nice flat back on the valve and put in 2 very, very good points for screwing it back to the wall. But most importantly, as well, we've made it able to fit into a 75mm wall cavity. Access afterwards is, we think, very important. Because we are involved in quite a lot of commercial work, we see it time and time again that hotel operators in particular want to refurb the room, but of course removal of the shower from the wall and the subsequent damage to the wall prevents them from doing it. So, as again, while we were designing from new, we were able to design a valve that could be removed by through the hole behind the escutcheon, which gives the hotel operator absolute freedom that if they want to do the room up, they can remove the valve if they choose to without damage to the tiles or anything like that.
The ideal standard tapware that we've created are manufactured in a world-class facility. The plant is vertically integrated. We have advanced CNC machining. We have automated plating. We have teams that work together to assemble the product. And the teams also have what's called TQC steps, total quality control steps. So as they're assembling, they are aware of the issues and the items that the end customer would look at and appreciate.
The ideal standard intelligent valve more than exceeds the durability and performance requirements of the New Zealand Building Code. In addition to that, the valve has been designed so that should you want, you can remove the valve without any damage whatsoever to the wall. This is a requirement in overseas markets, but has the added advantage that in the New Zealand market, where we have the durability clause, which means that things contained within the wall cavity have to have a warranty or carry a warranty of 15 years. The fact that the ideal standard intelligent valve can be removed from the wall cavity with relative ease means the contingent liability on either the builder and or the plumber is reduced from 15 years to 5 years. Right from the start of this project, we had to bear in mind the unique regulations which exist in Australia and New Zealand, which is WELS, which stands for Water Efficiency Labelling. As we were developing a multi-pressure range of mixers, we had to comply to the regulations for low and unequal, as well as a mains pressure rating. And you'll see that each of our products carries 2 labels as a consequence. Having achieved our objective in the performance of the shower valve, we were then able, off the back of that, to extend a full range of fittings, including basin mixers, extended height basin mixers, bath spouts, and a shower program, and of course a kitchen mixer. We're very aware that apart from the functionality of the range, that also design is crucial for the consumer. And we also wanted, as we've lifted the bar, we think in terms of performance of the multi-pressure range. We've also lifted the bar, we think, in terms of the design of the multi-pressure range. So we've definitely come at it from 2 angles.